Welcome back to our Situation Report, brought to you by the American Security Council Foundation. I'm your host, Joy Votrobek, and with me is our senior analyst, Laurence Sanford.
Nice to be here, Joy.
Thank you, Larry, for coming. And we're going to jump right into Ukraine. There's been a lot of talk right now about Israel and the war going on there, so we kind of put Ukraine a little to the side maybe, but what is our end game, Larry?
Well, that's the issue, isn't it, Joy?
Yes.
What is the end game plan for the United States? The Ukrainian government says the end game plan for them is total recapture of all the territory taken by the Russians. In other words, Crimea and the eastern part of Ukraine, or the Donbass.
But is that feasible?
Is that feasible, and is that in American interest? We're spending billions of dollars a year. People are dying. I think that, to me, is the biggest issue. I mean, as a percentage of our gross national product, the support we're giving Ukraine is a number, but it's not an overwhelming number.
Right.
And I think it's useful, the fact that we're resisting the aggression of basically a tyrannical autocrat. But do we want to continue the bloodshed? And we're back into World War I of trench warfare, only it's a little more deadly with all the missiles and so forth.
And drones.
So the United States government has not specified what the game plan is other than supporting Ukraine. Well, if we support Ukraine taking back Crimea and eastern Ukraine, then we should give them the tools to do it. If we want a stalemate and the thing to end, probably we should continue to dribs and drabs as we've done as far as the weapons are concerned. And of course, we're spending billions of dollars supporting the Ukrainian infrastructure. So is that an American interest to keep this thing going for a dream that's probably not going to happen? You know, the Russian country is a lot bigger than Ukraine. So they are going to be able to hold back, and they've developed defensive strategies. So it's one thing to stop an invasion, it's another thing to reverse the invasion and to take over. And as we've all seen, their so-called forward motions this year have been very, very minor. They've made a few inroads as far as territory, but pretty much the territory controlled by the Russians is still controlled by the Russians. And so,
And I wouldn't think they have any intent on giving up at this point.
No,
so
not at all. So Korea is a good example. Is anybody happy with the truce that happened in Korea in 1952? No. But people stopped dying. And to me, let's make a truce, have people stop dying, stop spending all this money, and move on.
Well, also, our senior fellow, Alan Dowd, and I brought up this topic, and I am happy to know that there is some accountability. He said there is a AG overseeing this, where our money is being spent in the Ukraine, because I was a little concerned. We're for supporting them, but where is our money going? Because we know there's been corruption there in the past, so we want to see some accountability and transparency.
And we have the political problem in the United States where it used to be that the difference between Republicans and Democrats stopped at the shore. Not so much anymore. So there's a real division between Republicans and Democrats, and Republicans are starting to, especially led by Trump, starting to question the whole support towards Ukraine. Whereas I firmly believe that we should support Ukraine against Russia. You can't allow petty dictators like this to get away with it. But on the other hand, if you can make the thing stop, let's stop.
Yeah, you know, he marched on a sovereign nation, so I agree that we need to support the
and
Ukraine.
One of these days, Putin's going to die. One of these days, we know that.
Then we have the question, who's going to succeed him?
Yeah, and what happens to Russia? It might break up like the Soviet Union, just disappear. And if that happens, there's a whole different scenario that could happen.
And we could go on about Russia and then Ukraine and
Siberia taking the whole thing.
But thank you for the Situation Report, Larry.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you to our listeners, and join us again for the next update.